Closing the achievement gap in education really means helping more students go to college, and one of the main barriers to college is money. There's one group that tries to address the question of money and motivation. It's called Families United in Educational Leadership, or FUEL. I'd like to welcome the founder and executive director, Bob Hildreth, and board member, Margot Tyler. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thanks for having me again.
I want to start with Bob. The program's been around for about 3 years now.
Correct.
So what have you done so far?
Good question. We've become a very strong experiment. 600 families saving, almost $400,000 in the bank, hundreds of thousands of dollars of that being matched by my organization, 100 kids in college, You take those numbers and you zoom down to a lot of families are being helped. Now, another thing we've done is we're batting a little bit above our weight because we have started to have a major influence with some of our ideas of how important parent engagement is for schools. So one of the benefits is sitting right next to me. Margot comes to us from the Gates Foundation in Education. Another set of indicators is we have had, I've done a TED Talk on these issues and a lot of media. So I think the message is coming across that parents are a big piece of education reform going forward.
Margot, what got you involved in this group?
Well, I'm a daughter of Roxbury. I'm a teacher by training and avocation. And, you know, I've worked and been educated in the Ivy League and elite institutions. I've worked with historically black colleges and universities, minority-serving institutions. And for the last 10 years, as Bob mentioned, I've been affiliated with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and their post-secondary and manage their scholarship programs. This is what I know. If you want to increase the educational attainment, expectations, and outcomes for our children, you have to involve the family. And when you look at many of the programs, if not most of the programs that target students of poverty and color, they look at the student and maybe the school as the unit of change. But what FUEL does is to look at the entire family. And I am committed to that vision. I'm committed to that approach. And when I returned to Boston just last year, I was looking for an opportunity to really contribute to something that I think could make a significant difference. And FUEL, for me, is an answer.
Well, I guess you've gotten to the point where some of the students you've been helping are actually in college right now.
Correct.
Talk about what a difference you made in getting them there.
Well, I'd mention one program in particular called Libido in Lynn, where we have 30 kids now in college. They span from Williams and Wesleyan and Wesley to state schools. And once the kids get into college, they stay connected to Libido. And one of the big connections is the savings account. Because every time they call us up and ask us for another withdrawal of their funds to pay for something in college, we have an opportunity to say, hey, how's it going? Do you need some help? Do you need a mentor, a tutor? Why don't you come back this summer and help us with our SAT preparation of the kids who are younger than you? So it's a continuum, and people found that that kind of continuum, they call it coaching, we call it just staying in the family. It's vital to getting through to graduation.
Margot, talk about how a program like this gets people on track to go to college, because when you think that people way up in the upper middle class have a hard time paying for college, if you talk to people who are near poverty level and you tell them, save some money, how much money is there to save? I mean, what can you build on that?
Well, it's about changing expectations. So we know that there are over 1 million students every year that who are college ready, but don't go to college. And we know that 94% of them think that college, or at least post-secondary training, is a way out of poverty. And so many students and many families opt out very early in the process, sometimes as early as the 8th grade, 9th grade, because their expectations are they're not going to be able to afford it. But I think with the kind of embrace that Fuel gives them, an understanding of how to build assets toward that goal, there are scholarships available that can supplement it, but you have to begin first with the expectation that this is something I can do and something that the family can rally around.
Bob, maybe just that parents put away some money, even if it's a small amount of money. It's not small to them, and I guess that means they're really invested in taking this a few steps further and doing other things to make sure their children get to where they want to go.
Chris, it's a habit. It's a habit which, once you get into it, every time it reminds you about college. Starting in middle school, you're thinking about your kid's college education. In our biggest match, the kids in Lynn end up with $4,000 at the time they graduate from high school. If you think about UMass Boston, which costs $12,000, and all of our kids get the full complement of need-based federal and state scholarships, that $4,000 plus those scholarships not only make it possible to go to college, but it means that they can buy those extras. Our money can even be used by a family to say, I can't get to UMass Boston, which doesn't have dorms, unless I drive. So I'm going to use this extra money for gas. And we say, go ahead.
And you can't underestimate the fact that Fuel also provides college knowledge to not only just the students, but to the family at large. And I think too often, particularly I know in my case, neither of my parents went to college, and having someone in a community setting, as your dinners are, in a community setting say, this is what you can expect, and these are the kinds of things that you need to be prepared for so that your child can be successful in college. It's a community, and as they say, it takes a village to raise a child, and I think Fuel provides that.
And when you hear something
village
from that community, it's more credible than just reading on a piece of paper or in a book where someone says your kid can go to college, but someone you know says it. I guess that's a big deal.
Right. Absolutely.
One of the big successes I saw is last week in Chelsea, they were celebrating a young woman for her AP classes. She was taking 4 AP classes, and her mother was in the audience. She was from Somalia. So afterwards, I went to the mother and I said, do you know about Fuel? And she said, know about Fuel? I'm in the program. I love it. And so it was just a chance, you know, but there it was.
All right, well, thank you. We should mention one more thing, Bob. If more people want to know more about Fuel, is there some way they can look that up and get in touch?
Absolutely. Our website, we're very proud of, fuelaccounts.org.
All right, thank you very much, Bob Hildreth and Margot Tyler from Fuel.